أشهد أن محمد رسول الله.
The Treaty of Hudhaybiyyah had happened, and that was Rasulullah started by taking about 1,400 Sahaba, and he took each Sahaba had with them dozens of their own animals. Each Sahaba. Rasulullah took with him 70 camels that he personally owned. 70 camels. Right? Imagine someone taking 70 cars that they own, right? And the camel that he rode, he had many camels throughout his life. You know, a famous one that he rode when he went to Medina, and it sat and it stopped, and that's where they built the masjid. Then this camel here, this camel's name was Al-Qaswa. Al-Qaswa was the name of this camel. So they are heading towards Makkah now, and what they want to do, Hajj and Umrah. That's what they want to do. That's their intention. That they're going to go, and with these huge numbers, they're going to go in peace. They're not going to take any. They're not going to go heavily armed. They might take a few swords and stuff, but they're not going to go heavily armed because they're not going for battle. So they are going towards Makkah with that intention. On the way there, the Sahaba, they're not sure if the directions that Rasulullah is taking is due to his own ijtihad or due to wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So as they're going forward, one of the Sahabas mentions a name of a well, and in Arabic a well is called bi'r. So this well, the Sahaba pointed out to, it is in Hudaybiyyah. So the well of Hudaybiyyah, bi'r al-Hudaybiyyah. And they went there initially looking for water and some sort of supplies. They couldn't find it. So then they decide to go ahead, and Rasulullah decided to go ahead on his camel. All of a sudden, Al-Qaswa, it stopped. It wouldn't move. And this is the camel of Rasulullah. So us reading this and thinking about it, we know there's something up. But back then, Rasulullah was riding a camel every day, all the time. Camels have got their own personalities. They're known to be arrogant animals. They're known to be stubborn animals, difficult to domesticate, difficult to train. They're not loyal they're not easy to train as like dogs, for example. So Al-Qaswa stopped. And then one of the Sahaba said, "What is wrong with Al-Qaswa today? He's become stubborn." Rasulullah got annoyed. And he said, "Neither has Qaswa become stubborn, nor has he ever been stubborn," to the congregation behind him. And then he said, "There's the one that stopped the elephants has also stopped Al-Qaswa." You know who you're talking about, the elephants. You know who we're talking about when we talk about the elephants? Abraha. Yeah, the year of the elephant, when the birds threw the stones onto the army of Abraha and his elephants. So the elephants stopped. So the one who stopped Abraha also stopped the elephants. So then Rasulullah decided to stop there, and he saw that and that was a sign from Allah to stop there. So Muslims stopped there and they camped there. Right? After they stopped and camped there, the Rasulullah sent emissaries, sent messengers to Quraysh from Hudaybiyyah. Does anyone know where Hudaybiyyah is? Exactly. Between Makkah and Jeddah, when you drive between Makkah and Jeddah, you will go past, there's even a little masjid there, and I saw it recently when I went to Umrah. And if you go on one of these guided tours, or you just take a taxi with these brothers that are very familiar with the area, they'll take you to all the places. So this taxi driver, he took us to the Masjid of Hudaybiyyah. It looks nothing special. It's tiny. It's like the size of one of our small masjids, right? And just a sign there, in corrugated iron, metal, signs of paint on it saying this is Hudaybiyyah, right? So there's nothing special going on there because that's not a blessed place, right, per se. But that is a place where the scholars say, Ibn Hisham, rahimahullah, and who's Ibn Hisham? Anyone remember? Who's the biggest scholar of Seerah in Islamic history? No? Ibn Ishaq. Yeah, Ibn Ishaq wrote the first Seerah. It was massive, right? Ibn Hisham came afterwards, copied Ibn Ishaq and summarized it and edited it. Right? So Ibn Hisham, Ibn Ishaq, they are the two biggest scholars of Seerah, right? But Ibn Ishaq came first. So Ibn Ishaq said that of all the victories in Islam, none was more greater than Hudhaybiyyah. So it makes sense that you'd think that maybe in that land, in that place, there should maybe be a bigger masjid. But if you go there, it's deserted. There's no town there, nothing. It's just like a petrol stop, like on your way, like a service stop, right? So Rasulullah sent messengers to the Quraysh from there. And it will probably take several hours by camel to go from Hudaybiyyah to Mecca, to the centre of Mecca. And the negotiations are happening back and forth. He's sending a messenger there saying, look, we want this XYZ. We want to do Umrah. We want you to release Muslim prisoners. We want to come in peace. We're not here to come to war. They rejected, right? But at the same time, they were anxious that if we reject them, what if they end up attacking us, right? Because they were scared of the Muslims by this point, right? And after that, then another emissary was sent back from the Quraysh to Rasulullah. And this would happen a few back and forth as well, until there was one of the emissaries. They actually sat down for the pledge and the treaty, and they discuss, what the terms of the treaty would be. And you'll understand by the end of this why the Sahaba, almost all of them, were extremely frustrated at this, to the point where some of them said, had it not been Rasulullah ﷺ who did this, I would never have accepted it. One of them even said, if there was one day that I'm going to reject what Rasulullah ﷺ said, it would have been this day. That's how humiliated they felt. I want you to keep that in mind as we go through this. So one of the terms of the treaty, the Quraysh said, right, any Muslims that escape from us and go towards you and seek sanctuary in Medina, you have to return them to us. And anyone who leaves Medina and comes to us, so Qurashi, we're not going to let him go. We're keeping them. Who would agree to this? Right? It's like slapping someone in the face. But Rasulullah, after back and forth, some discussions, he agreed to it. Sahaba were not happy. What are you doing? This is our honour, this is our izzah. Another situation where, this famous, when they went to write the treaty, and remember the treaty was written down in classical Arabic. You can even find copies of it online. On the top, it did, when the Muslims, Ali radiallahu anhu, he famously was writing it, and he wrote down at the beginning in the Muhammad, the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then the leaders of the Quraysh, they said, Suhail ibn Amr, I believe it was, and he was one of the leaders of Quraysh, and he said, who is Muhammad Rasulullah? Muhammad Rasulullah. We don't believe in Rasulullah, so why should we, if you write that in the treaty, that's implying that we believe it as well. Cross that out. Ali radiallahu anhu had, he felt, I'm not going to dare to cross that out. But Rasulullah told him, no, just cross it out. He said, no, I'm not going to cross it out. Then Rasulullah said, where is it? Show me. Which is a proof that he couldn't read. Where is it? Show me. And Ali radiallahu anhu was forced. Okay, there, it's there. Then Rasulullah got his own hand and crossed it, right? After that, and Umar bin al-Khattab was furious as well. Another thing written on the treaty was the messenger of Ar-Rahman as well. Ar-Rahman was written, and the Quraysh was like, who is Ar-Rahman? We don't believe in Ar-Rahman, we believe in Allah. Not who is this Ar-Rahman? Right? So they had to cut that out as well. From the other things that were written down, there were quite a few things that were written down that it was basically just the Sahaba did not like, to the point where Umar radiallahu anhu, he said to Rasulullah, Ya Rasul, are we not believers in Allah? Are we not Muslims? He goes, yes. Then Umar bin Khattab said, then why are we letting them overpower us like this? Why don't we just, show our strength and march forward? But Rasulullah, he had a long-term goal in mind. He wanted to avoid bloodshed as much as possible. You have to remember, this happened in the 6th or 7th year of the Hijrah. So, 6 or 7 years after Medina, after there's been so many lives lost, so much bloodshed, so many battles, so many wars that have happened in that time. He's lost so many of his closest companions, as have the Quraysh. They have lost a lot of their family and companions as well. So he's like, he's fed up, he's sick and tired of so much bloodshed. So he was extremely, extremely adamant that no fighting will happen. That's why he was willing to go to these lengths to ensure that no fighting would happen. So now that Muslims have agreed this, and the Muslims in total, they were in Hudhaybiyyah for 6 weeks, right? So in that time, while Suhail ibn Amr is discussing with Rasulullah, and while he's discussing this, remember when he came to visit see Rasulullah in his camp, an amazing thing he saw was that they're all dressed the same, and it was a custom of the Sahaba, due to the instruction of Rasulullah, that no one stands.